Doot, 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 doot. Splash. Man, I like that. That's just like the real one.
Hey guys, Chris Funk here at Outside World Columbus. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Jackson Coosa HD and the Jackson Big Rig. A lot of people ask, for a comparison of both of them. As somebody that's paddled both of them, I'm here to talk to you a little bit. Now, this is not so you say, okay, yeah, Chris said I need this one, or Chris said I need this one. The best thing you can do is go out, put your fanny in them, paddle them, see what you think about them, because they're both very different boats, even though they both do a lot of things well. I want you to make an informed decision. We're just going to talk about the similarities and some differences. The first difference you're going to notice between the two is the length. The Big Rig is 13 foot 2 inches long, whereas the HD is 12 foot 1 inch. The good thing is that both boats are short enough to fit up in the back of most pickup trucks. Just put the flag on the end and you're good to go. Alright, the next noticeable difference is going to be your width, where the HD comes in at 34 inches and the Rig is a monstrous 37 inches. Now don't let that scare you and think, oh my gosh, it's a beast to paddle. Because you see the way it drops down here where the rod troughs are at, it's actually a very easy paddling boat for its width. Not only that, that superior width gives it an incredibly shallow draft. This boat, I swear, would float on wet grass. It's amazing how shallow it'll go. So if you fish, moving rivers, rocks, things like that, where you're going, either over the current or over rocks, over logs, whatever. If you're in the flats, when you're in the super shallow, super skinny grass flats, the Rig is an incredible boat for that, just because it floats so shallow. The other good thing about the width, you can turn sideways. I put my feet in the troughs. I like the troughs a whole lot for putting my rods in. That's probably the one thing that I think that the Rig has well done over the HD is the rod troughs themselves. I love this design. I have a little bit of trouble with the HD, but I rarely put them in there because they're usually in the back of my J crate. But in this boat, I did use them a lot. So that's one thing that I liked on it a whole bunch. But that width, when you're crossing current, instead of plowing through it and having it grab the bow of the boat and snatching it downriver, you're riding so high in the current that you can actually go through a lot of moving water with the Big Rig just because of the shallow draft on it. And it's maneuverable because of that shallow draft, whereas the maneuverability on the HD comes from the seat. All right. While we're on that maneuverability from the seat, let me show you what I'm talking about. The HD's got the seat that trims fore and aft, 2 in the high, 3 in the low. Now, in the high position forward, trims the bow down, gives you a straight tracking boat. I've paddled it all over the saltwater flats. Outstanding, doesn't affect in the wind very bad. With it all the way in the back position, low, it'll raise the bow up out of the water. It'll give you a chance to maneuver in and around. You can eddy with it. Heck, this boat even surfs with a fat guy in it. I found that out the other day. That was really, really surprising to me. But just by maneuvering the seat back and forth, it allows the boat to change the pitch, and therefore the maneuverability of it is increased. So, 2 different purposes for the boats, but they both do really, really well in moving water. As far as outfitting, they come a little bit different. The Rig will come with 2 rocket launchers and then the smaller rod holder for the front. The rocket launchers are what a lot of people like in saltwater. It keeps the reels up away from the salt. And then the HD has flush mounts. So you got to be aware of that you might splash a little bit on your reels, which who doesn't? The other outfitting difference is going to be in the console area here. You see in the Rig, it's got the built-in console, which is great for mounting different electronics or your rod holders, whereas the HD comes with a removable console. This is my favorite part. You guys have seen that. I love it because I can take it completely out of there, and I'm left with this gorgeous flat floor where I can put camera bags, whatever I want to, tackle bags. Another major difference is going to be the way that the Rig is designed to run an anchor. You've got a space here cut out for a zigzag cleat. You've got the hole for the anchor trolley going all the way back to the back, down through the hole in the back for your anchor. It's also rigged out to take a rudder, and that's one thing that you do not get in the HD. So if a rudder is important for you, remember that. The Rig, you can get a rudder for it. The HD is not rudder ready. Now they are both micro power pole ready, so if you want to run a power pole, they're both ready and equipped for it. So just remember that. Rudder, no rudder. Both the Rig and the HD have fore and aft hatches that are giant, enough for carrying several days worth of gear out on the water if you wanted to take them out camping. The tank well on the Rig is a little bit larger than the HD's, but both of them are large enough to fit the new 25 quart cooler from Orion. There's a little bit of extra room on the back of the HD for tying and strapping stuff down to. I mean, it's just a cavernous boat. It's big, it's like an aircraft carrier. I mean, I've had multiple days worth of gear out here and it still was begging for more. The HD's a little bit more streamlined, you're a little bit more careful in the way you place gear in it, but it still does an outstanding job. All right, stability-wise, bar none, the nod goes to the big rig. I mean, it's just incredibly stable. It's like standing out here on this carpet, but you know, and that has to do with the width of it, and it's just an excellent design in the hull, and the fact that you can lean all the way to one side, you can lean all the way to the other. You know, the rule in kayaking is if your head goes over the side, your body's going to follow it. Well, that rule's broken with this boat. This boat is by far the most stable in our fleet. It has the stand-up bar, which is out. I didn't need it as much for standing as much as I liked having a place to put my paddle or another rod holder while I was standing. That way I didn't have to take my eyes off of a fish, you know, whenever I was trying to put down my paddle and pick up the rod. Stability-wise, the HD surprised me. After fishing in the rig for the entire year, I was not expecting this boat to be as stable as what it was. Because when you get out of the big rig and jump into a Coosa or you jump into any other boat, you know, it'll take a minute to get used to that boat not being not as stable as this boat. So when I jumped in the HD, I was expecting quite a difference. It's not as stable as the big rig, I'll tell you that right now, but it is incredibly stable. I was actually able to throw cast nets. You know, if you check out my boondoggle video, you'll see that we were standing up, sight fishing for sharks, setting the hook on sharks, standing in the deck of this boat. So it is incredibly stable. I've been able to stand in it with boats past, just turn into the wake. I mean, that's surprising for a guy that doesn't stand very well in a kayak. So I'm very pleased with that one as well.
What are you looking at? Shut that thing off and get out there and fish.